For design and math, we had an IDU where we had to create an island on Minecraft, which could sustain a family of 5 people. And the island had to be a composite shape, and it had to cover an area of 7,200 meters squared. So this island is a rectangle and a square. The square is 60 meters by 60 meters, and the rectangle is 90 meters by 40 meters. We also needed to have a forest, which covered an area of 1,260 meters squared. These leaves are supposed to be spheres, but they don't look like spheres, and that's because the wooden trunks are really close to each other, and also because the radius of this sphere is pretty small in the Minecraft world. It's 1.5 meters. And one of these blocks is 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. We also needed to solve the family's water problem, and my solution to the water problem was to have a freshwater lake on the island. We needed to build a house for the family. The house is on a foundation of brick stones, and this is because if there's a flood, the water won't go inside the house because there's a foundation. This is the main entrance to the house, which you can probably tell because of the stairs. This here is the living room. This is a bedroom, and the small compartment over there, this is the bathroom. There are 5 bedrooms, and each bedroom has its own bathroom. That's one bedroom over there. This is another bedroom, and that's the bathroom there. This space here is the dining room and the kitchen. That's a side door. This is the storeroom. This is another bedroom. And this is also another bedroom. And that's the back door. The extension project for this house was to have a pyramid roof on top, and I did attempt to do the coding, but it didn't work, and that's because my house is a composite shape. So instead, I built a pyramid on the side, and it has no purpose, it's just there. There's also this garden just for decorating the island because there was a lot of space and I didn't know what to do with the space. And that's the island. Oh, and this island is near Sydney, and that's because there's rainfall every month, and these trees need rainfall to grow. Okay. Just another short tour. The trees, the freshwater lake, the house, pyramids, and the little garden. Programming and coding really helped with this project. Just imagining doing all of this manually, it would have been really time consuming. So just by coding everything, we saved a lot of time. And before we started this IDU, in design we were learning the Python code on a website called Code Academy. And while we were learning the code, Python programming language, I learned about the for loop, and this was something I used for this project with the trees. It was really helpful, and it also saved quite a lot of time because with the for loop, I could program all of this with just 4 or 5 lines of code. Well, if I had not used the for loop, it would have taken me 30 or 40 lines of code. And we were working on an application called IDU to put all the coding language there. So if you had a really messy and disorganized IDU document, then it would be really hard to keep track of everything that you were doing. So we also needed to add comments on our coding document. Also, programming and coding was helpful for expanding our creativity because of these block types. There are many block types in Minecraft, so this is the grass block and this is the water block, the wood block, etc. So just by having a variety to choose from, we were able to create our own designs for houses. Like I used bricks and iron for my house, and this gives it a really unique look, in my opinion. So so overall, I guess programming and coding helped us to expand our creativity and imagination, and also to find patterns and connections between things we've learned before and things that we're doing right now. I think this unit was quite successful and really fun. I liked the learning opportunities that we had. So I liked learning about the coding. Initially, I was actually really um, annoyed with the coding because I found it really difficult. But then after I started understanding it, I found it really fun to program different things like the house and the trees. I also liked looking at the connections that math had with design because this whole project wouldn't have been possible without math. And before we even started the programming, we had to create this scale drawing of the island, and it was like a blueprint of the island. So we had to make sure that everything was to scale so that it would be easier for us to code, because the same blueprint was used to identify the coordinates of each of the blocks that were required. Uh, I also think that there were a few limitations to this project. For example, um, I felt that a lot of the focus was on the design part, and I think this was because a lot of students were new to programming, and so a lot of time had to be spent on how the code worked instead of looking at math and the other ways that math was incorporated into this project. I also think that the beginning of the IDU was quite unorganized because we spent a few weeks looking at the code, but all of us were doing it mechanically and we didn't really understand it. So then we had to relearn the code, and though we did understand it the second time through, we spent quite a lot of time just learning the code instead of creating the island and the house and everything else that was required for the task. I think that this project really allowed us to let our creativity flow because we could do anything for, well, we had specific parameters, like we needed to have trees which covered an area of 1,260 meters square, and the island had to be a composite shape. But I saw other students work, and some students had really unique looking islands. Like one student had an arrow shaped island, and another student had chosen to create make the island a composite shape using a triangle and a square, which was quite interesting. And I also liked the way the students were helping each other. I needed quite a bit of help from other students too, so it was, some parts of it was like a collaboration, and I felt like I also helped other students with the coding, even though I was quite new to this as well. So everyone in the class had something to contribute to for this project, and I think that was an advantage. So overall, I think that this project was a success, but it could have been a bit more organized.